This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Stuck in a lo-fi loop again? Hit shuffle and refresh the everyday with Mentos Gum. Pop a piece and turn that sleepy soundscape into a dance floor. Freshen up your moves with spearmint. Find freedom with fresh mint. Get juicy with red fruit lime and tropical. Or choose a different way to refresh the everyday with your favorite. Mentos Gum. Yes to fresh.
Beau?
How come you never call Travis first?
Okay. Travis!
Wait, how come you don't call me first?
I'm so annoyed.
What do you want? What's up?
All right. So QR codes, right? You guys know about QR codes.
Hate them.
Yep.
We've written articles about QR codes. We know that during COVID, a lot of restaurants using QR codes, keep people safe, not having to handle menus. We know that in a lot of cities, they now do QR codes on parking machines and things like that, meters.
Wait, what's that? I haven't heard about that.
Travis, you were telling us a story recently about it.
Yeah, there's a scam going around where someone's been putting fake QR codes, or not fake QR codes, but QR codes on parking meters that redirects people to malware. And then so when they see it, they think it's it's something associated with like a parking meter app or what have you.
Seriously, QR codes are incredibly problematic. I've never understood the concept. Well, I get it. But the fact is, you point your phone at something that is, by its very nature, cryptic, right?
Right. You have no idea where it's going to take you.
And it causes your device to go do something. It could cause your device to do anything.
Yeah, and anyone can print one out.
How serious is it, though? Because I go to restaurants, obviously we all go to restaurants where they have low or no touch situations, and part of that is the menu is on a QR code.
But it is a leap of faith. You're right. You go to a restaurant, you point your camera, your phone, whatever, at this thing. It says, happy to open it in whatever the browser is, usually Chrome.
Yeah.
You open it and there's a menu. But what if there isn't a menu? What if you think there's a menu, but you are actually on the menu?
Yeah, or also there could be a menu and malware. It doesn't mean, just because there's, the thing that you're expecting is there, doesn't mean there's something you're not expecting also there. Well, I personally, when I go to a restaurant and they have a QR code, I just claim that I don't understand the technology and can they please give me a real menu?
Yeah, even if it's a legit menu at a restaurant, even if the QR code wasn't put there by a scammer, you still don't know the privacy policy of the website you're going to. It could be tracking your location. It could be setting cookies on your device. There's no way of knowing just by looking at a QR code.
And I would imagine also the manufacturer, the company generating the QR codes, you also don't know, and they also could be putting some sort of tag on their product that is traceable. It's totally possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yet another wonderful thing that supposedly makes life more convenient and doesn't really, if it happens to be somebody who wants to inconvenience you.
Well, just remember, it's the whole clash between security and convenience, and convenience, unfortunately, tends to win out often.
For me, convenience versus security is nowhere more obvious than in password use management. The answer you get when somebody uses their password as their wife's name or something, and you say, "Well, why'd you do that?" The answer is because I can remember it.
No, you have to make the analysis, pro versus con. Pro, it's easy. Con, it's stealable. Pro, I came up with something indecipherable. Con, but I put it everywhere in my universe.
But it also is risk versus reward. The risk that you're willing to take, and I don't know, maybe that's why I live in the woods, and my only friends are coyotes and squirrels. But the I don't like to take those risks. I don't. And I would prefer not to have the quick menu or the immediate gratification if it also means that I'm going to spend the next 3 days on the phone trying to figure out whether or not I got hacked.
Well, there's no question, coming from a man who basically roasts his almonds and then dumps oil all over them. No, you do sometimes take the long road.
I don't dump the oil. I pour
Although I've
it.
seen you simply eat a pat of butter, directly, and I go, don't you want to put it on something?
It's true.
But anyway.
It's true.
Welcome to What the Hack, a show about hackers, scammers, and the people they go after. I'm Adam Levin, cyber revolutionary.
I'm Beau Friedlander, cybersecurity cat.
And I'm Travis Taylor, cyber reactionary.
And today we're talking to Brian Fennimore, who got into some trouble reusing passwords. Interestingly enough, I was with Brian's brother and sister-in-law in Los Angeles this weekend.
Oh.
This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado, Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
Hey guys, it's CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm partnering with Abercrombie this season to tell you all about their viral denim. All you need to know is denim should fit like this. My jeans need to check a lot of boxes. Fit first, trend second. They need to go with whatever I'm feeling. And Abercrombie denim has it down, whether I'm throwing on a tee or putting a whole fit together. Shop Abercrombie denim in the app, online, and in store.
Oh, there he is.
All right, how's that?
Oh, much better.
Great.
So Brian, you're the younger, handsomer brother or the older, handsomer brother?
So we have two cousins in the family, similar, older brother, younger brother. Every family event, when I see them, they come up and they say, "Are you the smart one or the handsome one?"
I was just with your brother. Is he younger or are you older or younger?
He's older. He's got 5 years on me.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So Brian, you're a GQ model? It's clear you are, but so how long have you been a GQ model? Oh, I know. It's my favorite thing on earth is to talk to GQ models who have been hacked.
Gosh.
Anyway, Brian, thank you for joining us today. And
It's a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
I am Adam. I know you by way of your brother and your sister-in-law. This is Beau, who we know by way of his Hollywood presence.
Brian, very nice to see you today.
Likewise.
And Travis, who has a voice 2 octaves lower than the Lord's.
Indeed.
We're delighted to have you. And we hear that you got a pretty interesting story, and it involves password protocols. So, but, before we do all that, it's always fun for us to kind of get to know you as you. So where are you coming from right now?
Well, I'm geographically in Leesburg, Virginia. By profession, I work in information security, and somehow I've made it my career to help modernize technology for large organizations, help out with cloud migrations, and really help infosec organizations try to keep pace with a DevOps type of cadence. Prioritize real world risk, balance that with regulatory controls and documented risk. And it's been pretty good so far. It's brought me into a lot of really interesting scenarios. I've been very fortunate to work with some brilliant people who were very willing to teach me from their experiences. And I feel like I'm at the phase in my career where I'm paying that forward to the next generation as well.
I have two questions for you. The first is just for our listeners who may not know what DevOps are. So can you tell us in sort of plain English what DevOps involves?
So the term DevOps is derived from a combination of development and operations. So in traditional information technologies organizations, there would be a group that creates the information systems that we're using, and then there would be a group that maintains them day to day, is responsible for installing them, deploying them.
Now, are these databases, email, what is it? Everything?
Everything under the sun. An information system is any collection of computers, servers, or services. If you go to a website, it could have a backend database, some sort of a data store, stateful or stateless. And essentially, in the old days, it was a collection of physical machines in a data center. And now with cloud, it's more becoming a representation of software. So my role is and has always been to keep the bad people out of the information systems through whatever means necessary.
And that's the infosec or information security part.
Yes, absolutely. And then the DevOps component was really, it was a modernization or a refresh into how we manage those services. And it shortened the bridge between that operational team and the development team. And it allowed the developers to get closer to the systems that were essentially their babies. The developers create these pieces of technology. They live in the real world. And there were different people responsible for maintaining uptime or availability of those systems. And so by bringing the developers closer to those systems, it gets them closer to the forefront to see the problems. And the faster they can see the problems and understand them, the faster they can get a solution deployed. And so one of the scary things at a previous company where we implemented DevOps, we were performing thousands of production deployments a day. So we were touching cache generating systems. We were touching them thousands of times per day in order to fix some sort of bug. It could be adding a new feature. It could be fixing a bug that we were seeing. And so the DevOps methodology is about moving very, very fast. And then if you're moving very fast, chances are you're going to fail at some point. So there's the cultural side of learning to embrace that failure. And then there's the tactical side of learning to, it's called fail fast a lot within the industry, but it's learning to embrace that failure and then very quickly move into a solution and get that solution implemented as quickly as possible.
Got it.
Travis?
Yes.
Is there any reason why I'm understanding this? Must be that Brian's good at explaining it. I don't know. But this is also sort of your world of fascination, no?
Yeah, most definitely. I think one question I have for you too is you mentioned the cloud before, and obviously there's headlines I think every week about some massive cloud breach of some sort. And I'm wondering, is there one specific platform or technology that you found to be markedly more secure than others, or is it all just sort of do each of them just come with their own set of vulnerabilities?
That is definitely a loaded question. And what I heard...
Love the loaded question.
What I heard was which cloud platform amongst the big three with AWS, GCP, and Azure, which would be the most secure to use?
That's so unfair, Travis. It's what he does for a living.
I'm trying to get some dirt.
Two answers, right? So one, I would choose the most mature.
Mm-hmm.
Most mature as in like Adam, or the most mature like me emotionally?
Loaded questions all over the place.
Well, the answer is definitely not going to help because the answer is the oldest.
Okay, so
That'd
Adam
be
wins.
me.
Sorry, Adam. The longer that they've been around, the more likely that they have encountered failures more often. And the more likely they're going to be doing something about it. And a wonderful example.
Some things have encountered failures more often. Some of us, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, Adam.
Well, a good example of that was the recent breach of Capital One. There was an AWS function, which is, in my experience, because of the name. They call it AWS
now, for people,
roles.
wait, I just got to break in. For people who are listening to Travis and Brian going on the trip in the Light Fantastic, AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. And it just is a place that it's a cloud service where a lot of companies, many of which you do have business with, they actually exist, digitally. That's where they reside on AWS, no?
Most entities, especially a lot of startups coming out, predominantly are running on AWS. GCP has begun capturing a lot of the hearts and minds. And I think GCP really has an opportunity to look at what's working well with AWS and to start to build on it. Azure has tremendous potential as well. And that.
But I just was trying to clarify what AWS was. So let's go. So now that I've diverted you and everybody gets that AWS is AWS, you were telling Travis something super interesting about how AWS actually is terrible and no one should use it.
And Jeff Bezos is paying particular attention to this. Right
yes,
now.
Listen, everyone's listening.
I would say the ultimate answer, Travis, is when you're moving into public cloud, you get the security that you bring with you. Right. A professional can secure Azure, GCP, or AWS to within acceptable risk levels, and a inexperienced person can bring a lot of insecurity with all three platforms as well. It's a shared responsibility model when it comes to risk management and security, and you really get what you bring with you.
That makes sense.
But you see a lot of situations where people go, well, it was the cloud provider's fault. And he goes, whoa. Wait a minute. The business bears responsibility for securing data.
These services are potentially could create a lot of problems if they're not used correctly. And I'm not advocating for guns or cloud-based cloud servers, but it does have to do with, even at the high level of work that you do, there's still this fast fail, there's still the potential for human error. Human error is baked into the process, and no amount of system building or design is going to stop it, it sounds like to me. Is that right, Brian?
I think that's a really good way to phrase that, Beau. I would even bring the metaphor of, for my car, if I put the wrong tires on my car, and because of that, I lose traction and get into an accident, I'm not going to sue my automobile manufacturer. I made the choice to use that product in a way that is not safe. And so that probably gets far away from due diligence of a secure solution. And that kind of gets into the negligence side of securing your solution.
Yeah, kind of like putting diesel fuel in your unleaded engine.
Ultimately, the cloud, I think the way I heard it be put most succinctly is when you put something on the cloud, you're just putting it on someone else's computer.
Yeah.
It's a gross oversimplification, but it also kind of helps imply, I think, some of the risk that you're taking.
Well, and when you store something somewhere and you don't use encryption and you don't use a password and you don't do it carefully, then it's exposed, period. End of story. Which is a very fun way of getting to your story, which involves a form of, the ghost in the machine, which is humans, which in this case was you human being.
This episode is brought to you by Mott's Applesauce. So you're looking for a snack your kid will love and you can feel great about? Give them a Mott's no sugar added applesauce pouch. Made from real, delicious apples and a good source of vitamin C, too. Perfect for tossing in a lunchbox or grabbing for on the go. Mott's. Real apples make real good applesauce. Learn more about Mott's no sugar added applesauce at Motts.com.
Make your next vacation unforgettable. On Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas, it's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
What happened to you, my human friend?
Long ago, in the days when I was still attending college, I had a Hotmail account. And
when everyone had a Hotmail account?
Yes, right around that time. I'm not going to give the exact date, but it was before the millennium. Yes, before the millennium.
1966, and you're actually Jason Bourne, and you've been on the internet before we even knew what it was.
I like the setting. I'll take it.
I can't remember anything that happened before 2 weeks ago.
So essentially, I went to log in to my Hotmail account, catch up with my friends, and couldn't log in. Contacted, I can't remember if Hotmail was a part of Microsoft at the time or not, but I contacted them. I was able to gain access. And as I'm going through my inbox, I see all these emails. The ones that caught my eye the most, and they all look kind of odd. Somebody was conducting business with my email account, so it was clear it had been compromised. But the ones that caught my eye were from eBay, and they were legitimate emails from eBay, from my eBay account. And of course, I had the same email address as an ID, and I had the same password on both accounts. But
Whoa.
Go on.
Did you just say that you had the same username and the same password at eBay and Hotmail?
I heard you asking before, man. I hear you asking now, but I can't do that.
Yes, and this would be a good time to talk about the concept of blameless postmortems, Beau.
No, this is also the time.
This is
the
a
music.
no shame zone, but you're Jason Bourne.
The music.
You're
Dun,
Jason
dun, dun,
Bourne.
dun.
Okay.
Don't you just take the past and put it in a room in the basement and lock the door and never go in there?
Keep going. And by the way, touche.
So, absolute mistake. And it was a trivial password, right? Not as trivial as...
But I do have to, not rubbing it in here at all. Point taken. At this point in your life, you had no role. You weren't doing infosec. You were a student, correct?
Oh, yeah. I was a physics major and a mathematics major, and I knew enough about computers at the time to check my email.
Gotcha.
Sometimes, when my password worked.
Okay.
But, the eBay transactions, I started investigating them, and they were for small electronic devices. We didn't really have cell phones, so they were sort of like PDAs, personal data assistants, some earlier versions of cell phones, and they were all being shipped to an address in Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria, where I actually have 3 times inherited a huge amount of money.
Oh, congratulations. Was it the same prince?
I was informed via email. A prince, yeah. I'm actually a little Nigerian, I guess, because I'm related to a prince from Nigeria who's died 3 times, so he's also maybe a cat.
Those may have been sourcing from the same location as where those electronics were being shipped. It's highly possible. But I was able to get in and reset the eBay password. I never found out if the items actually shipped or not, but the lesson that I learned was password diversity, I would call it, and avoiding password reuse, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's using the same credential at multiple services, multiple sites.
All right, Brian. So are you aware of some other password-related scams when you weren't, saving the world as part of Treadstone?
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. I am. And this one's a little bit scary. And, I don't like to encourage fear or uncertainty or doubt. But it really is a scary situation. A really good friend, close colleague of mine, they have a home security system with smart cameras. Mm-hmm. And those smart cameras, we're all fairly familiar with that setup. You set a username and password. You can look at the video activity, get alerts on if there's motion, things like that.
And he had the whole house wired with them. So
yes, very, very trusted technology within the home.
Okay.
And unfortunately, one night they heard talking coming out of the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
One of their children was present.
Oh boy.
And so it was, easy to feel incredibly exposed during that time.
Was it like a baby monitor, or was it coming through the security system?
It was I would describe it as a smart camera without giving away proper nouns.
But it was a connected home device.
100%.
Okay. So it was not just a out of the box camera. Back in the day, we're all familiar with this. When you could get these cams, close circuit cameras, and other online cameras that were delivered. They were the first Internet of Things devices, really, with a default password, and those default passwords were listed on databases that were frequented by threat actors, and so there were websites. I don't know if you remember this, Brian. You probably do. Do you remember the websites where you could actually just scroll through every single publicly accessible camera to see what you were actually doing when you weren't working for the government when you were?
I can one up that because it was even more trivial. There was a specific brand of camera where you could do a Google search, because the way that Google was indexing and crawling the internet, they were discovering these cameras if they were put on a public interface. And you could just go to Google, type in some string. I forget the manufacturer, and I probably wouldn't say it if I did, but you just put the string in and you get full access to their camera. So wherever it's pointed, and if I'm not mistaken, that model of camera had the pan, zoom, tilt functionality. So you could actually redirect it and point it around and see what else. So it's definitely been a growing experience for the industry to learn how to properly secure these things.
Didn't they also have a situation involving New York schools where someone hacked into, because a lot of schools allow parents to look at younger children in class to see if they're being treated properly, if they're getting the right kind of education. I know they were doing that in some of the secondary schools in New York City. And someone hacked into a system and was basically watching children. Not to be confused with also the story where a Russian site was actually into 77,000 households worldwide, where you could go, and it was like the movie Sliver, where someone
that was so creepy, because it was literally knock on any door, and it was endless. It was endless. It was also endlessly boring, but it was but you could just look and look and look and look. But I want to get back to this because, talk about infosec. You have a system that is designed for private use that has a serious information security risk factor, right? Which is, if someone gets your password, they can download the app and see everything that's going on in your home. Is that correct?
It is, and that was actually the root cause of the problem. The provider wasn't doing a very good job making sure that the people that were logging in were really the people that were logging in. The burden of authentication, the burden of knowing and trusting who you are working with, who you are communicating with, that burden is on the service provider. I know who I am. You all should know who you are, hopefully. But if you are authenticating to a service, that burden of authentication is on the service provider.
Hey, so does that mean to say that if someone logs into, say, my Instagram account and from Spain right now, and Instagram knows where I am better than I do, probably. They know my travel patterns. They know, where I log in. They know my IP address. who should Instagram really be the ones to say, wait a minute, this is not Beau. Beau is not in Spain. Because they're 100%. Not doing that.
I agree completely with Instagram in that context, right? No shots at Instagram. But in that context, Instagram would have the obligation, the responsibility, and the accountability to make sure that this is in fact Beau who wants to post these cat pictures on Instagram. I'm just presuming. But
you're dead right.
Usually dogs.
I really see that. I had a long conversation with AWS, and I'll say AWS because once again, I don't look that great in this story. I was using a two-factor application, highly recommended for anybody that can use it. Two-factor authentication on my phone for my personal AWS console, and it got destroyed at a water park. So I had also neglected to update my mailing address in between when I have moved locations. And so calling AWS, they had no way to verify that it was me. The email address was up to date and fine. The physical mailing address was not. So in order to bypass the two-factor token that I had on my phone, the thing that generates the random numbers, in order to bypass that, the email verification, which shows that I'm in possession of my email credential, that was not adequate to bypass the two-factor.
Wow. So what did you do?
So I was really impressed with the way that AWS handled it. They had a process. I had to fill out paperwork, get it notarized, and mail it in via snail mail in order to get access to my account again.
Okay, that's impressive and super annoying.
I was super annoyed and happy. There's got to be a word for that emotion, annoyed happiness.
There's a German word for it, for sure.
Well, to take us all the way back to the late 90s again, in terms of your password compromise, one thing I'm sort of wondering about is right now there's a huge cottage industry for selling just databases full of compromised passwords and logins and the like. I don't think that was the case when your email password was compromised. So how do you think that happened?
Great question. Thanks for bringing that up. So just a week before the compromise, I had logged on to a very small website to buy some very old candy. Some friends and I were sitting around like reminiscing as college students do. And it was sort of like, they were like fizzy candies that do something. I don't remember. We had them as kids.
I remember those fizzy candies. The Hot Rocks or whatever they call them. Yeah.
They were good. I don't know if it was worth the compromise, but
sometimes when you get the munchies, you just need to go for it.
So logged into the website, they require you to set up an account. They require you to set up a password. And my bad habit extended to that. So same username, same Hotmail email address, same poorly conceived password. And I highly suspect that small shop was not properly secured. And, just because it happened afterward, it doesn't necessarily mean that it caused it, but it's a little too strong of a coincidence. But it's a great segue into something that Adam had said, where it was how secure you are. No matter how secure you are only as secure as the services that you are using, right? It's like dating in high school. If you get mono, it's because the people you're dating probably had mono. And so if you are using different services on the internet, your security level is reduced to the weakest point in the chain. And that could certainly segue into a deep conversation about supply chain risk, but I won't tug on that particular thread.
Or why I never dated anyone in high school.
Oh, come on. That's not why. But So now let me ask you, now you're in InfoSec. What is the takeaway? What do you do now? And what does more importantly, your friend who had that horrible experience, what are their what's the password hygiene like now?
Good. And the root cause from my colleague's situation was also a common password that was used on multiple sites.
Yeah.
So similar root cause.
QWERTY. Yeah.
So to counter that, my recommendation I'm kind of the IT sysad guy within the family. Most of us that work in IT or close to it become that. And my recommendation is come up with two portions of your password, at least two. One should be fairly complicated, but trivial for you to remember, not attached to anything personal to you. Don't use the last four of your social or your favorite pet's name. There's a very famous internet comic on XKCD where he talks about password complexity. And I think he uses battery horse stapler. And he goes into how it's very difficult to compromise that type of password as opposed to something with uppercase, lowercase, special characters. And I won't go too far into that, but come up with a string that you use and you easily remember that's strong, and then come up with some sort of a mnemonic or memory device for the specific service, and then combine those two things.
Brian, Travis, Adam, Squirrel. I mean, but it is the 3-word strategy that, Travis, you're always banging on about.
Yep.
This was great. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us, sharing insights with us. And, I think this was it was a very beneficial opportunity for a lot of people listening in to, learn. And sometimes it doesn't matter how professional you are, the smallest thing can bring you down. So to Brian, we do thank you, and we look forward to having you back on again.
Well, thank you, Adam, Beau, and Travis. It was a delightfully stimulating conversation.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. And please, if you could just send me some of the passports you're not using anymore, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, he loved it. He loved the one that you were using in Prague. It was very impressive.
Yeah.
I just want some fizzy candy. That sounds good.
Bye, Jason Bourne. So listen, if you like What the Hack with Adam Levin, keep listening. Download it every week. We're here every week. And you can really help people find the show by doing a few things. One of them is writing a review. But if you don't have time, Adam, what else can they do?
Give us 5 stars.
And we're available wherever you get your podcasts.
What the Hack with Adam Levin is a production of Loud Tree Media.
It's produced by Andrew Stephen, the man with 2 first names.
You can find us online at loudtreemedia.com and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Adam K. Levin.
Loud Tree.
Behind every empire are the people history tried to forget. Lost Roman Heroes tells the stories of the remarkable characters who shaped Rome from its mythical beginnings to its final fall.
Each episode blends armchair storytelling, sharp historical insight, and a bit of humor to bring these lost figures to life. From generals to scientists, from rebels to empresses, from priests to politicians, these lost Roman heroes have one thing in common.
They stood up for civilization when the bad guys threatened, and in doing so, they changed the course of human history. If you're into history that's vivid, surprising, and deeply human, this show's for you.
Behind every great meal is a person with a story to tell. Hear them on Culinary Characters Unlocked, the podcast that reveals the lives behind the food. Hosted by me, David Page, Emmy Award-winning journalist and creator of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, as I talk with everyone from culinary legends to mom-and-pop standouts about the creativity, grit, and passion that shape the food we love. Follow Culinary Characters Unlocked on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.